What a wonderful Christmas we had experienced. Now we were headed back to Bible college for our last semester before graduation. We'd been unable to go home for our first Christmas, and this time we were even more prepared than last year. But we had pushed the limits just a little. We'd allowed just 28 hours to return to campus and the start of the last term. Driving time between home and school was about 22 hours. And that included crossing the Continental Divide in December. We also started our return in the afternoon, so by the time we got to Baker City, it was getting dark. And beginning to feel the freezing rain that had begun. As we started up the mountain on the other side of Baker City, we noticed the state police had closed the freeway just after we had passed. We had replaced our old tank car with a new front-wheel drive model, so we were able to keep the front wheels ahead of the rear ones, but the highway was slick. With each curve, we hoped the pavement would be dry, but that never did happen. The radio antenna would start whipping back and forth as ice built up, and then suddenly the ice would shatter, and the whole process would recur. All night long and into the next day, we slid across Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado, arriving the next evening on a freeway thick with the ice covering. I had an hour to get ready for class after driving all night, but everything worked out. I look back on this Christmas with a bit of a shudder. The chances I took with my family in order to spend just a little more time at home seems foolish from this vantage point. But then the need for family overruled better judgment. There are many times in my life when I would not have begun if I had known the outcome at the start. It's good to know that Jesus understands this principle. When Jesus was preparing the disciples for his death, he ended the discussion with this: "I've much more to say to you, more than you can now bear. But when he, the Spirit of truth, comes, he will guide you into all truth. He'll not speak on his own. He'll speak only what he hears, and he'll tell you what is yet to come." That's John 16, verses 12 through 13. If God had revealed the future details of my call to ministry, it would have been very difficult to obey. But he gave me enough information to take the next right step he had in mind for me. Many want to know what the future holds, but he's too kind to do that to us. He gives us only as much information as we can handle. When he called his disciples, he didn't tell them they would be killed in fulfillment of their mission. Little by little, Jesus gave them more information, as we can observe in this discussion with Peter. "Very truly I tell you, when you were younger you dressed yourself and went where you wanted. But when you're old, you'll stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." Jesus said this to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said to him, "Follow me." John chapter 21, verses 18 through 19. Enjoying the journey requires trust that God knows the end and he cares for me. May God bless your day as you trust in him. Bye-bye.